Guys, Demello Jones is showing up on my Twitter timeline every single Friday night and Saturday morning. This guy's balling out down in Swainsboro, and he can do pretty much everything you want an athlete to do, not just a DB, but on offense too.
We used to see these types of guys a little more often than we do now.
Correct.
We used to get to see Champ Bailey play quarterback, running back, linebacker, cornerback, safety.
You know why? Because we had Wing T.
Well, it was that, and it was also just kind of like, all right, how do we? Where can you hurt the team the most this week? It was kind of just go line up and play ball. You didn't see specialists and guys playing just one side of the ball, and your best player. I mean, how many of these guys got recruited back in the day from the quarterback position? I mean, that was the thing. I mean, I remember Bear Bryant. That used to kind of be one of his philosophies when he was recruiting the skill guys. Like, hey, I like to go out and give me a quarterback, a guy that's playing running option, playing quarterback like that. But man, I tell you what, I've watched this cat 2 weeks in a row, everything I could find on Twitter, and I don't know, man. I would still say, just in terms of Georgia's class, I'm not a big quarterback evaluator guy. I know those guys are extremely important, and that's the position itself is so premium and so important that it's really tough to kind of nail down exactly where you want to rank them. But when I look at this and I look at the idea that you're looking at skill guys in this class, Ellis Robinson's probably number one, and this cat right here is number two for me.
Yeah, Demello can go. You look at I saw him last year in the state championship against Jake's going to like the Braves, just hit a home run. I'll say this, that I saw him in the state championship last year, and I'm telling you right now, I didn't realize how quick he was. I got to watch Miko Hardman play high school football, and had that different year than everybody else from the quarterback position. And look, you see him throwing the ball there. It's not going to scare you when he throws the ball.
And he can pass.
He can pass, yeah. So, but that's what scares you when they just toss it to him and you see his athleticism. My high school quarterback I played with, we played in the wing T. He probably couldn't throw it 15 yards, but you know what he did? He played 10 years in the NFL because he was a great athlete, and he played defensive back as well. So I'm familiar with these type of players. And Demello, when you see him in person, just how explosive he is, and I think people don't realize how long he is. And Georgia did a really good job of getting in him last year when the buzz started on him as a junior. Then he's on that 4x100, 4x200, I think, state championship track teams for Swainsboro. And I'm telling you, man, they ran into a buzzsaw in Prince Avenue, but for about 3 quarters, man, they gave them a big scare because every single play you had to hold your breath because those guys were running 40 and 50-yard touchdowns.
I like that you brought up the guy you played high school ball with because he kind of reminds me of a guy I played high school ball with, a kid named Matthew Thomas who went to South Carolina, played receiver. I know coaches to this day that'll tell you Matthew should have played DB. He would have played in the NFL for a long time. Yep. Fred Smith, who played at Jonathan Smith, as he became to be known, everybody called him Fred back in Homerville, who played at Georgia Tech and with the Buffalo Bills. Another guy just like that, and then Champ Bailey. You used to see him all the time in single A ball, and you probably still do to an extent, but. Listen, Swainsboro, not a very big place. Speed trap town, no doubt about it. I got a ticket there 3 years in a row. So Demello Jones is a stud, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching his clips early this year because he's something special, man. I mean, if he's not a top 50, top 40 type prospect, I don't know what one looks like.
Yeah, his tape's gonna. And Charles Power, our evaluator, is a guy that's. He values senior year, and I don't think a lot of people do. But Charles Power, he really digs into senior tape, and I like that about him. That it means something as far as evaluation. A lot of people get that early, junior ranking, and you don't move much. But if you succeed and do what Demello is doing week to week, wouldn't surprise me to see him get a little trend up on 3.
And Charles likes him better than most people already. I mean, you can look right there at the rankings there. He's got him ranked number 80 overall, number 10 cornerback. He's got a good chance to rise in there.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch his tape, he just runs wild. Like, he is long, like you said, Rusty, but he's so fast, but he keeps it under control somehow, the moves he's putting on these guys. And the quarterback thing, that's just it's like the trademark of a high school team. You just give the ball to your best athlete. And then the Wildcat kind of made everyone think it was just a Wildcat thing. I remember watching Mecole single-handedly beat Dodge County in a road playoff game for Mecole. And that's just when you can see a guy that is head and shoulders above and better than everybody else on a high school football field, whether it's special teams, offense, or defense, then he's ready to play at the next level. We had a question in here about Georgia picking up another safety, and we try to go find it. I know it's probably not looking the best right now, but I wanted to see if y'all had any insight on that.
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to continue to recruit safeties, and we'll see. They got 2 home games coming up, and even though, it's obviously this week with UT Martin and Ball State, I'm interested to see who they get on campus this week, because that 6:00 start gives players time to travel if they were to get somebody to come from a little ways of distance away, get a chance to be on campus. Recruiting is get back going, and I'm interested to see. We'll be on it later in the week, but as far as Saturday night, who actually shows up, because the next week is that noon kickoff, and that's rough on everybody. I mean, That's tough. Recruits. Those recruits go to bed at 1:00 in the morning on, Saturday morning after a game, and you think they're going to get to Athens at 9 a.m. for check-in. It's tough on those guys.
Yeah. Mom wants to go inside pretty quickly for those noon kicks when they're sitting out there in the recruiting section. Dylan Raiola is not worried about Demello Jones' quarterback tape, I don't think, but Shahid Huckabee wants to know about Raiola and Ellis Robinson's performances this past Friday. Buford with a little bit of a scare against Jordan Davis's old team.
Let me tell you something. I know some people on that staff, and I don't want to get too much into – let me say how to phrase this. I don't want to get too much into their game planning, and teams that play them are starting to see. But Buford is not an RPO team. That's not who Buford is. Buford is I formation, downhill, bootleg, waggle. They're going to throw the ball a little bit, and they have in the past. Ashton Daniels is out at Stanford, quarterback, and he was a good player for those guys, and they threw the ball with him. Former son of Juan Daniels, UGA wide receiver. But they're in the process right now, because they've got Dylan Raiola on campus, of inserting an RPO package into their game plans. And that's something that takes a while. You just don't put them in there. That's linemen and everybody. So they're right now still in, I would say, phase 1 of that. And they're still having some busts and those types of things. I've talked to a few people very close to them, and they're said, look, we're still installing. He's only been there. Monday, I guess, will be his 7th week. Think about that. This is 7th week or 8th week, I think, that he's been at Buford. So there's really a lot of learning still going on there. So I think whatever he does right now, and he's played pretty good in my opinion, it kind of shows you how quick he's picking up things and how the people around him. But I'll tell you this, when I was at practice and they put KJ Bolden at wide receiver, I saw Raiola drop one from about 50 right over his shoulder. And when you got elite speed like KJ Bolden has, you even run by the Buford kids. Well, guess what they did Friday night when they needed a touchdown? They put KJ Bolden at wide receiver, and Dylan Raiola hit him for a touchdown. So they've got that in their arsenal, and you don't have to learn that. So there's some things they're going through at Buford right now that I think if as the season goes on later in the year, I think you're going to see the full, what I would say, kind of package and evaluation of what he can do at Buford and what they've done with him as he's been here.
And not only that, they're playing very, very, very good programs early in the season.
Yeah,
programs that are really well coached, and this isn't college ball. There's no style points. There's no committee to impress. You don't have to throw the book at it. I'm not sitting here saying they're sandbagging or anything, but if you're Buford, you're worried about being the best version of yourself 4, 5, 6 games down the line, and you're trying to trust in the process. I still think Dylan Raiola is going to put up big numbers. I still think he's going to be a a very good football player. The thing that really does surprise me, though, and I haven't been able to watch him anything other than a few clips in the opener. There's a lot of people talking about mobility and maybe he's not as mobile. Listen, man, I watched this kid throw out there at Jefferson, for a good while, and I saw him move. I saw him, bootleg out. I mean, he's a good athlete. Now, it may not be showing through right now, and this may be kind of a deal where they're asking him not to. They're like, hey, listen, don't get out there and start stretching it out yet. I mean, we're considering playing at not just non-region games. You're playing out-of-state games, your first 2 games of the season. So, kind of keep it in the pocket. Don't try to do too much. We'll get there. But I'll be interested to see how he looks down the line. But listen, you see the deep balls that he's hit. You see some of the throws that he made against St. Francis in week 1, and you're like, man, this is elite stuff. And we'll see down the line. Ultimately, I think one thing folks need to realize is whether he puts up big numbers or not, and whether he drops in the rankings or whether he can't go far up, guys. He's not going to rise a whole hell of a lot. I'm sorry to tell that to you, but whether he does or whether he doesn't, it's not going to change the player he is when he gets to Georgia. And that's the ultimate thing you got to remember here.
I'm also involved with helping pick games. Not the only person, but I'm also on a committee that helps pick games for TV in Metro Atlanta, and now you can stream them anywhere. I helped kind of pick him a little bit later in the year because I didn't know obviously what they were going to do with him early, and I would rather have a game that I felt like they're going to turn him loose and they'll have some installs done by then. So we do have him, I believe, on September 22nd against Marietta High School at Buford. So I think that's the first game they are on TV in the state of Georgia. So, and then I know they play Mill Creek 2 weeks later, I think, on ESPN2. So he'll be on TV back-to-back games 2 out of 3 weeks.
Dusty says, "Shut up and drop the link for where to buy Rusty's hat." I don't have the link to it.
Hey,
it's a pretty sweet hat.
I need to do that because a company, from time to time, people will send me stuff, and a company sent me this hat. I need to find out. They didn't ask me to do anything; just gave me a hat. And I was like, I like the hat, and been wearing it most of the summer because it's waterproof. You can get in the beach, you can get in the pool, and let me promise to get that link and maybe give them a little shout out because
once Rusty figures it out, we'll get it in the.
I don't want to mess it up because I want to get some more stuff.
Yeah, get that affiliate link. Yeah. And then Shahid also shouted out Ellis Robinson. If y'all missed it, he had a sick diving interception for IMG on Friday.
I don't think people realize he is ESPN's #1 rated player in the country, regardless of position. Like, he is the #1 player in the country for ESPN. So that's pretty strong for a defensive back.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be fun to watch all year, and obviously great to be able to catch him when he's on national TV, which is cool because he's going to have a lot more opportunities like that. #4 overall prospect in the On3 industry ranking.